Good day everyone! Welcome to my Science 6 virtual class. I'm Teacher Ed. At the end of this video, you can explain how the organs of respiratory system work together. Identify and describe the functions of organs of the respiratory system. Alright, let's start. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Now, what organs are involved in breathing? That's right. That is respiratory system. Our body needs oxygen in order to live. Organisms exchange gases with the environment. This process is called respiration. Respiration, that is, includes and intake the oxygen and its delivery to the cells of the different parts of the body. Respiration or breathing is a continuous cycle. Did you know that the average person breathes 20,000 times a day? That's right. During inhalation, our body takes in oxygen, which is important to many body processes. During exhalation, our body expels or breathes out carbon dioxide. A carbon dioxide is a waste gas from different body processes. Breathing is a body mechanism performed by our respiratory system. The primary functions of the respiratory system is to allow the exchange of gases in the body. Specifically, it distributes oxygen to the different parts of the body and releases carbon dioxide out of the body. The respiratory system has the upper tract and the lower tract. The upper tract consists of the nose, nasal cavity, and the pharynx. And the lower tract consists of the larynx, trachea, bronchial tubes, and lungs. Now, let us identify the different parts of the respiratory system. This is the nose. It is the outer part of the respiratory system. It is mostly made up of cartilage, which make the nose flexible and strong. The nose has two openings called nostrils. Nostrils leads the airway to the nasal cavity. Nostrils are lined with the small hairs called cilia. The use of cilia in our nostrils is to filter the dust and other particles present in the air we are breathing. This is the nasal cavity. The lining of the nasal cavity is moist because of mucus. Tiny hairs or cilia are also lined in the nasal cavity. The hair and mucus filter out the dust and other particles that come with the air we inhale. The hair and the mucus also warm and moisten the air that enters the body. We normally breathe through our nose and not through our mouth. This is the pharynx. This tube is also called the throat. It is connected to the both nose and mouth and acts as a passageway for both food and air. This is why we can still breathe even we pinch our nose. This structure is called tonsils. It is found at the opening of the pharynx and it destroys bacteria that enter the body via nose and mouth. This is the larynx. It is also called voice box. It is found at the lower end of the pharynx. When you are talking, the vocal cords in the larynx vibrate and sound is produced. This structure is called epiglottis. Epiglottis is the covering of the larynx. These small organs is important because when we breathe, the epiglottis is raised and let the air flows into the larynx and the lungs. But when swallowing food or water, the epiglottis is pressed down the opening of the larynx to prevent food from entering. Choking happens when food accidentally goes into the trachea. This is the trachea. It is also called windpipe. It is the tube at the bottom of the larynx. Trachea is aligned with mucus that help prevent dust particles and other things from entering the lungs. Trachea is connected into the lungs through bronchi or bronchial tubes. This is the bronchial tubes. These two tubes that carry air into the lungs. Bronchial tubes branch into even smaller tubes called bronchioles. These are the bronchioles. At the end of each bronchioles is the bunch of tiny air sacs called alveoli. These are the alveoli. The exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide happen in the alveoli. The absorbed oxygen is transported throughout the body through the bloodstream while the released carbon dioxide is exhaled. The lungs are enclosed in coating called flora. Flora allows the lungs to slide freely as they expand and contract when breathing. Below the lungs is the dome-shaped muscle called the diaphragm. This is the diaphragm. It is the one that controls the breathing. Now, let us describe how diaphragm work. During respiration, the diaphragm flattens out and pulls forward and making more space for the lungs. When we breathe in or inhale, the diaphragm contracts and pulls downward. This movement increases the space in the lungs, which pulls air into it. When we exhale or breathe, the diaphragm expands and goes back to normal resting position and more upward. This movement reduces the amount of space for the lungs and forces air out. The ribs and the chest cavity also move during respiration. During inhalation, the chest cavity becomes bigger as the ribs and diaphragm contract. During exhalation, the ribs and diaphragm relax. and the chest cavity becomes smaller. Now, did you know all the parts of the respiratory system? Let us now describe the path of air during respiration. The air we breathe is not 100% oxygen. It is actually a mixture of different gases. The air is composed of 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, 0.4 carbon dioxide, and other gases and vapor. But the only gas needed by our body is oxygen. When we breathe in or inhale, the oxygen-rich air from the environment enters the nostrils and go to the nasal cavity and go to the pharynx and larynx, and then the air will be separated to the bronchi and then move towards the bronchioles and then the alveoli. Here, the oxygen and carbon dioxide are exchanged. The oxygen are transported by the bloodstream through small capillaries, while carbon dioxide from the blood get inside the alveoli and then we breathe out or exhale. The air with carbon dioxide from the body travels to the bronchioles and then to the bronchi and then move to the trachea and then to the larynx and pharynx and then to the nasal cavity, then out of the body. That is how respiration works, and we do it again and again. But according to the study, the air we breathe out is composed of 78% nitrogen, 17% of oxygen, and 4% carbon dioxide, which indicates that we do not absorb all oxygen in the air we breathe. That is why we will be able to supply oxygen to a person during mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. That is amazing, right? Now that you know how our respiratory works, it is also important that we know how to take care of our respiratory system. Here are the 10 helpful habits that promote the proper functioning of our respiratory system and avoid respiratory ailments. Number 1. Breathe clean and fresh air. Avoid places where the air is heavily polluted. Number 2. Avoid smoking or secondhand smoke. Number 3. Stay away from the people who are infected with respiratory ailments. Number 4. Observe proper hygiene. Number 5. Eat plenty of fruits and vegetables. Number 6. Exercise regularly to keep the body strong and healthy. And number 7. Maintain the cleanliness of your surrounding. And number 8, consult a doctor for any sign of respiratory ailments. Number 9, cover your nose and mouth when sneezing. And number 10, vaccinate young children. Now that you know all about the respiratory system and how to take care of it, us now answer this question.